Hello, Alan. How are you
Good morning,
today?
Miss Letty. How are you?
I'm fine, a little chilly here, but
Yes. Oh
we
well.
can never complain because we have sun. Other
Yeah.
people don't have it. So I would just like to explain to our viewers that you have a technical problem with your computer, and so your image keeps flicking on and off. But as we can hear you clearly, that is the most important thing.
Yes.
So, today, Alan, I think you have an idea of what you would like to talk about. What would you like to talk about today, Alan?
Well, difficulties in speaking English, are all the that is concerned with learning our language.
Right then. So, would you like to start the conversation? Why people find English difficult or about learning the English language?
Yeah.
Off you go.
Well, I think first and foremost, when people are asked a question, they're very shy. I find that certain countries, they're very shy people, and they're afraid to expose themselves. And because of that, it inhibits their ability to really say what they want to say. But I think back really because here I am trying to learn a language here in Spain, and I know they're the problems, so I sympathise with them. Um, if they know nothing at all, it is extremely difficult because how do you express yourself if you've no knowledge of the language at all, or you haven't studied very long? So shyness is something they have to overcome, I'm afraid, and that only disappear with practice. Um,
So, what you're saying there is that people lack confidence. They lack
Really, yes, I
confidence.
do really. Well, certainly beginners certainly do. Those who have learned a little are a little bit more outgoing. Yes.
And also, I think you were saying that depending on what country they come from,
Yes.
their culture could affect them to be even more respectful or translated into shyness.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So they
Um,
have to overcome this if they want to communicate with
I'm
other
afraid
people.
so. Yes. There's no quick fix. I'm afraid it's something. It's like going on stage as an actor. It's something you've got to overcome. This business of being shy, and you've got to be a bit more outgoing. But there we are. That will come in time, I'm sure. I always ask them what are the four disciplines they find the most difficult: writing, reading, listening, or speaking. And of course, the top one that is the most difficult is the speaking. Most students can read and can probably write. What their listening ability is, I don't know, because a lot depends on the quality of the sound. But the speaking part is the most difficult. And really, even though they can read quite well, that's not to say that they understand what they've read, as I found out. Because having read a passage, then I would say, well, do you know what that's all about? And of course, then you realize they really haven't, there's no, the comprehension is not there. There's no understanding or very little.
Do
And
you
so,
know why, Alan? I think they are so busy trying to pronounce
absolutely,
the word that they haven't got the other skill of comprehension working at the same
that's
time.
right. Yes, yes. Well, I don't know about you, but I mean, I like to get feedback. I like to do it in bite-sized chunks, if you like. And I tell them, I'm quite open. I said, look, if there's any word or anything you don't understand, tell me, because I can't read your mind. And of course, I said, well, I didn't understand this word or that word, and I don't know what that means. And so I try to describe it in as simple terms that they can understand. And that usually goes down quite well. I mean, they won't understand everything, but little by little, sort of gains their confidence, and that makes them more at ease, and they're able to really let their English go, if you
So
like.
you're saying that they should feel comfortable enough with their speaking
Absolutely.
partner
Yes,
to be able to ask questions, and the speaking partner needs to encourage them more and show them that there isn't any problem if they ask questions, and they
that's
should
right.
do.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but I find the biggest problem is in understanding them is that they trying to speak far too fast. They will not slow down. And I keep repeating, there's no way you can pronounce the word or the vowels if you speak at high speed, unless you're really fluent. And they really do need to slow down.
Well, I say this to my students. I said, slow down. Why? Because if you are slowing down, as you said, your pronunciation is better.
Absolutely.
Also, and also it gives you time to think what you're going to say next. So if
Absolutely.
you were running, and also as they have to speak for a minute or 2 minutes, the time will go better in their favor if they're speaking slower. So
Yes,
slower
absolutely.
helps them with the pronunciation, gives them time to react, gives them time to think. And also, a conversation isn't a question of speed, it's a question of enjoyment. So
Absolutely.
if they're so nervous, they're not enjoying it at all.
Yes, it is absolutely. They hear that, say, okay, I'll do my best, and they start off and they go back to their old habits because they normally speak at that speed. I mean, they probably find that the speed that we communicate is too fast for them anyway. But then because we're fluent, we can pick up the words quite easily. But for a beginner, there is no way they can pick up what we're trying to say. And it goes the same for them, really. But it does give them that little bit more time to think what they want to say. And again, I always go back to this, the beginning, learning the alphabet. And I say to them, do you know the alphabet, the 26 letters? And they say, yes. And I said, well, repeat them for me. And I said, well, there's quite, they did quite a good job, but you're not using the sounds in your speech. Every letter has a different sound. And of course, I said, it's not just a case of your knowledge. There's lots of things that come into being able to express yourself. Your lips, the movement of your lips, the movement, the muscles in your face, your eyes, gestures. There's a lot comes into being able to express yourself. So I said, you can't speak with closed lips. Don't be afraid to open your mouth, if you like. Overemphasize your ability to pronounce words.
I'm laughing because you remind me of what I say to my students. When I'm talking to them, I'm like this.
Yeah.
I'm like a goldfish, maybe, and I exaggerate everything and I go very slow.
That's
And
right.
also, they need to realize, without getting into any technical methods, that their mouth will move a lot different than in their own language.
That's
So
right.
this is why they need to move their mouth. And also, you mentioned the alphabet. Well, the alphabet and the sound. When I was a child in England, I learned how to read by sight
Oh,
and
yeah.
memory. So that was an old method of learning to read and write.
Yes.
And now the new one is called phonics, with the sound.
Yes.
And so I had to learn again the sounds of the letters, which I didn't know very well. So now in my classes, I go with the gesture. Then I go, ah, and then I go, t, t. So we show them, there are more, we show them 42 sounds with a gesture.
Gosh,
And
really?
so I had to do them, but they do help because English is very difficult in the sense it's written in a
Yes.
completely different to the way we say it.
Yes.
So, but it could help you. For example, I find H difficult. So I do this sound to help them. And different countries have different problems of different letters. So you need to help them more. For example, in Spanish, the S sound is difficult for them. They don't say Spanish, they say Spanish.
Yes.
So they need to realize the difference between their language and the English language. And it does help if you know some of the phonics. The phonics means the sound, not the name of the letter.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, all these things contribute to being understood. I mean, for some of them, I said, you would make a very good ventriloquist. I said, how is that? I said, you can speak without moving your lips.
So another thing they need is a good sense of humor. Absolutely. To enjoy the lesson. So I think it's important. People need to relax, enjoy, and don't expect too much too quickly.
When we've sometimes had these chat box meetings, as I call them, for me personally, I do like to not only hear them, but see them a video call, not just sound only. For a person who has hard of hearing, plus the quality of sound with the internet is not always that great. So a combination of the two is extremely difficult to communicate with just sound only. And I do like to have a proper video call where I can, if you like, read their lips as well as listen or hear them.
I agree completely with you. Also, as this is a pleasure for us to try and help people, we need to be able to see their facial gestures to understand them better.
Of course, it's all part of it.
Yes, and I understand there could be a cultural reason why they don't want to show their face, but I think we have to decide. For example, I'm looking at you now, and I can tell a lot just by looking at your face. Yeah. And as you said, maybe the face gestures are helpful, maybe because of the sound, and you and I have a problem with our hearing. So it's just all part and parcel of learning a language. It's communication. It's being with people, and being with a black screen doesn't help us at all.
Not really. I find that most difficult. But there we are. I mean, as you said, it's probably maybe to do with their culture or religion. I don't know, but I'm afraid I must be very strict. I would say, well, in that case, we're wasting our time. Either you come with a video call, or go on one-to-one with the student face-to-face. But on internet, on the computer, we find it a great help if you make it a video call, not just sound only.
Yes, I agree with you again. Also, as where I live, I mix with a lot of Muslim people. They can cover the head, the face, and I deal with them just like everybody else. Yes. So I don't think there could be a problem, but that is very personal, and everyone should decide how far they are willing to go. But they should think that we give our time, and we enjoy it too, but they should think of us as well, that we need help to see their face for the gestures of the emotions they are trying to express.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yes, it's all part of the learning process. I always go back to the old cliche that it's like learning to play a piano or a violin. It takes time. You can't just simply pick up an instrument and you're going to be playing, whatever. It has to be done little by little. And of course, the more they practice, hopefully the better they become. I think also it's important that if they've arranged to meet you on, with a video call or whatever, that they get the setup, the surroundings. I think they're sitting in a dark room. I can hear them, and I say, "Well, where are you?" I said, "Come on, let's have some light. I want to see your face." And background noises, the dogs are barking or there's children screaming. I think you really got to try and make an effort to try and get the right conditions. It's fairly quiet, and you can concentrate. But if you've
Maybe
got,
they should go to the bathroom and find a space in the bathroom. Maybe that's the quietest place for them. But I understand we're talking about a technical problem we could have, and we need to be able to hear to help them. So I think it's very important for our learners to think what they want to achieve. And when they decide what they want to achieve, then they have to do certain things by helping us on the technical side, visual or hearing.
yes,
Also, they need to realize there are no hidden secrets of learning a language.
no,
They need to put in the time.
yes,
They need to put in the time. And also, they should try and do things which they don't find boring, and they are motivated to do things. No.
absolutely, yes. The difficulty with learning a language on computer, apart from technical problems, is that I found with one group, you always get the odd person that is a bit more outgoing and tends to take the lead, and the others will quite happily sit back and not put any input.
It sounds very much like a classroom atmosphere. You get
well,
one.
I take them out one at a time and say, I want to speak to you individually, not just as a group. I don't know about you, to teach a group as a group. I can't be sure that everybody has understood or whatever. So I don't know about you, but I do like to talk to each person individually in a class to see what
When I'm in a group, I'm a bit like a sergeant major, Alan. I say, right, it's Alan's turn. Right, it's Maria's turn. And very politely, I go from one to the other. So yeah. I suppose I take out the off the cuff bit and the natural way of doing it, because I know in my class you get the outgoing people who always put their hands up and want to speak. Yes. And then the quiet ones think, if I am quiet and I behave well, I don't have to worry. That's so right. I always go around from the right to the left or left to right, and everyone gets a go. So also they are there to take part. That is the beauty of taking part, and not just sitting there. Maybe a way to solve this problem, I let the more knowledgeable people go first, so that the ones who are beginning or have less idea, they can listen, get an idea, think about it, and then when it's their turn, they could feel a little bit more confident.
Yes, you're right. That's a good way of. I've never thought about that. That's a good idea. I'll try and keep that tip in mind. But it's not easy. I sympathise. I can see when a person is struggling, and without trying to embarrass them, if I know what they're trying to say, and I'll try and help them along with it. How much of that helps, I don't know. I don't put words in their mouths, but I think they do like to listen to. They say we love to hear an English person speak. Now, how much of that they take on board, I don't really know. Really, it's certainly an important part for them, because they see.
Yes, they're training the hearing. They could become more confident, and also I don't know if this is the right word to imitate you, but they could find good ways of saying what they want to say by listening to you. Yes, so absolutely. When you speak, they think, that's what I wanted to say. So they should be able to use that in a future conversation. No?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know what you think about. I think all foreigners will have a dialect, even as English people have a dialect. And I say to them, when you speak to somebody from England, let's be very clear about this. There are about 30 different dialects in UK alone. So if you're going to speak to a Scotsman or somebody from Yorkshire, or somebody from down in the south in Cornwall, it will be very different to somebody who speaks in the centre part of the UK. So it will be very easily. I haven't heard of anybody who said, "Well, I speak to somebody in Aberdeen or whatever, and I've got a neighbour from Aberdeen, and I can hardly understand what she's telling me half the time." And she's from.
You and I have this problem sometimes. Well, problem. We realize you are from the south and I am from the north.
Yes.
So sometimes when we are speaking, you say, "Oh, is that how you say it?" And I say, "Yes, Alan, that's how I say it."
Yes.
So they have to realize there's not just one way to say something.
Yes.
And as you said, there are different regions, provinces, and also accents. I think we have over 43 accents in the UK. So just listening to textbook English or standard English, when they get to a higher level, will not be enough. They will need to diverse and listen to more different accents. This is why I like doing it with you, Alan, for example, because you're from the south and I'm from the north.
Yes.
And so people might be able to see the difference in the way we speak.
Possibly.
And that is good.
Yes, I said I can't judge myself. I hope I'm coming across clear enough. But well, they say, I said, well, I'd love you to listen to somebody from way up north or way down in, say, Devon, and see if you can tell the difference. What is your opinion of? They sometimes say a British language. I said, well, are you talking about the Queen's English? Now, I said, if you were to listen to somebody from Eton College, who would have a very posh, high voice, you know what I mean? I mean, I say, is that the kind of dialect you want to listen to? Or I say, I think I consider myself an everyday today English person. I don't have an Eton dialect. I don't think so. But what's your opinion of that?
So we have the Queen's English or standard English, but they will be very surprised if they meet someone who is an normal everyday person, will not speak like that at all. So they will be thinking, what have I been learning all these years? And no one speaks this way. So as we're saying, Alan, it's very complex, this about learning a language. With your permission, I would like to talk about just two of the problems we've mentioned today.
Yes.
And this is only our opinion. It's not something that everyone thinks the same as us. So can you read what's on our screen today, Alan?
Poor vocabulary. Solution. Start with English related to you and your life. Each person is different. It should be meaningful for you. Do as many things as possible in English which are related to you, i.e., for example, family, work, routine, weather, your phone or PC, computer, your thoughts, what you see around you. Make simple sentences. You will need to review it many times. You will use it many times. Yes. Well, there we are. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is more or less what you were saying to do with this. You don't need grammar or perfect grammar. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
We will still be able to understand each other.
Yes.
Communication is more important.
Absolutely.
And the last one, I think they should, I'm talking about beginners more than anything, they should learn 50 common verbs. And with them, they will be able to communicate quite easily, like the verb to ask, to be, can, and come.
Yes.
And then another thing we talked about today is that they are afraid to speak, or they have a fear to make a mistake.
Yes.
So what should they do, Alan? What are our suggestions?
Well, the solution is you need to start with listening for a short time, 30 seconds to 1 minute.
Yeah, continue.
The sentence you listen to, stop it, and repeat. I've seen that sort of thing. Never mind, never change a word or tense. Next time, change a word or tense. For example, I live in Milan, or I live in Italy, or I lived in Florence.
So from one basic sentence, you can make many more, just changing a few simple things.
Great,
and
yeah.
that will enhance your ability to be able to speak. So these are very small things that we are saying you can do.
Yes, I do get a bit confused with present, past, and future tenses.
Yes.
I said, well, even if you speak in the present, I'll know what you mean. It's just
Yes. And then if they
thing.
said in present and they said yesterday, well, we get it. And it's got nothing to do with grammar.
That's
then
right.
My next suggestion is learning chunks,
Yes.
pieces of language. Don't just you learn words separately, learn them together. It makes learning easier. Remember, we are building a house. Using 3 or 4 bricks together, it will be quicker.
Yes.
So if you learn, I live in, you then don't have to think well, is it I live on or is I live up? So if you learn it all together, you will then realize how to say it. And the last one, Alan.
You need to boost your confidence. You need to push your comfort zone. Remember, speaking is a different skill. Humans have been speaking for longer than writing. Don't worry about making mistakes. We all do. You need to be with other people. After a few times, you will get used to it.
So I just thought that that by chance had a relationship to what you were saying and what you had to express. So
Yes.
I've put it there so people can see it. And it's like a summary of what you were saying. By chance, we were both on the same
on the same wavelength, yes.
Yes. So then, Alan, I would like to think we have helped someone, even if we only help 1 or 2 people.
Well, I hope so.
To make the step forward.
Yes.
And they can do it. I think I written the other day on Chatbox, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, then. So we hope we have been of some help to somebody, and we will see ourselves next time for another session together, Alan. Toodaloo.
Okay, bye-bye, Miss Letty, bye-bye.